Aloha! You're watching F5 On Demand. And welcome to a special extended edition of In 5 Minutes or Less with Peter Silva. And today I'm going to show you, in around 5 minutes or so, the new Big IP Advanced Firewall Manager, available in Big IP version 11.3. Big IP AFM is a stateful, full proxy firewall and brings to the forefront many of the security features already inherent in Big IP, allowing administrators to easily protect their infrastructure and understand exactly the type of attacks that are occurring. So let's start the clock. And so I've logged on to a Big IP local traffic manager with the Big IP AFM loaded on it. And you'll notice it right away over here by this security tab. And so we brought many of the security features to the forefront and created this administrative tab so administrators can easily configure security on their Big IP devices. And so right here in the overview section, it gives you and lists things like the top drops and the top rule matches and the top ACLs that were hit, the top actions that were taken when, say, DNS attacks occur. And this is pretty cool because you can, maneuver them around and change their order as you see fit. You can add widgets over here. You can view by, various ACLs that may be in place, VLANs, source IP addresses, rule contexts, those sorts of things, and also the type of, whether it network, DNS, DNS-DOS, or protocol security. Doi, cancel. And so also we have under the overview the protocol security. And by the way, you can see here there are no records to display because I don't really have any malicious traffic going through this Big IP device. But here, in the summary is all of these conglomerated on that single screen. And then under each of these, protocol, network, and denial of service, you can get your unique views as to what's going on. So under protocol security, it's things like FTP, HTTP, SMTP. Under network in the overview, the rules by ACLs, layer 3 to 4 types of attacks, top rules by day, top source IP addresses. These two, these are maneuverable. You can also export them out. Time range by widget or any other criteria that you'd like to see over here, any of the virtual servers that you have in place if you want to check those specifically. So that's the overview. It gives administrators a great view as to what type of attacks or what may be occurring within their infrastructure from a security point of view. Now, if we go to protocol security, and so this is specific to HTTP, FTP, SMTP, and DNS. So right there, those types of protocols being secured. And so here the profile name is HTTP security. Let's create one real quick so you can see HTTP. Oh, you can see I was practicing HTTP2 security. And here are some of the pieces, the sets that are in place already for preventing from some non-RFC compliant requests. And so it's really checking to make sure that these protocols are abiding by their standards. A number of checks you can, select or deselect depending upon your environment if you want to block or alarm them. You can get into request checks, the length checks, the types of methods that are allowed within HTTP, the file types, any mandatory headers that should be there. And then the blocking page, say a violation occurred, a block occurred, you can then send and show the user the unique blocking page, whether it's, they did something wrong, or here is your support ID to check what occurred. Oh, and you know what? I actually forgot to click create, and then let me just do that real quick again. Doink, doink, and create. And there's the second one set up. So if we go to FTP under security profiles for FTP security, you can see here are various settings that you can enable or disable. Anonymous FTP, any FTP commands that are disallowed, maximum log on retries, whether you're going to allow passive mode or not within FTP. And then here's SMTP. Let's click on that one. And this is for your virtual servers, things like directory harvesting attacks. And it's kind of cool if you just hover over the name itself, it'll give you a little idea as to exactly what that means. So you may not be all up on all of your security terms, even specific to SMTP, but you want to create a solid policy. And so just hovering over it gives you a good idea, an exact idea as to what exactly this particular thing means. And so, oh, we're running out of time again, but I already warned you, so that's okay. Things like DNS validation, any SMTP commands that are disallowed, any virus detection that you'd like to take advantage of. So sending any traffic through an ICAP server first before it makes its way to the official mail server for protection. And you can see over here, cancel, update, or restore defaults. Let's go back, protocol security, boom, and then DNS security. No records to display. Let's maybe create one here. You can see query types, name, DNS, secure, description, protection, type of query types, inclusion or exclusion, what's available. Let's maybe do a record and query and finished. That's how easy it is. And there you have it. And so then under profiles assignment, there's nothing assigned right now, but this is where you would actually assign, a profile to a virtual server. Now, if we go under network firewall, and this is the traditional network firewall policies or aspects that you're probably familiar with. And so here we're in the active rules page. And you can see here that each of the virtual servers are listed, and each virtual server, now by the way, a virtual server or a VIP, a virtual IP, is the application itself, is the ultimate resource in your data center that someone may be requesting. And so each of these, as you can see, has their own list of rules. Before it makes its way to the resource, it must go through these checks to make sure that nothing bad is occurring. And say if we click on, I don't know, let's see, let's look at, I don't know, OWA secure access. It's as good as anyone. And so here's the description. You can see that the state, any schedules, the protocol involved. And so, for instance, things like DNS, you would obviously just check, for UDP, not TCP. Any of the sources, the destinations, the ports, the protocols, all those pieces that you're already familiar with when it comes to protecting the network. The other thing that's kind of cool is if you're wondering what virtual server this is, maybe the name doesn't, you're not sure of the name or what have you. If you click on the virtual server itself, you then go to right under here, local traffic, virtual server. So where you would normally create your virtual server for your back-end applications. And standards, this sort of stuff, any of the basic or advanced configuration, all the stuff you're probably used to when it comes to deploying a big IP. Any SSL profiles, the SMTP profiles, and being able to, update, delete, adjust as necessary. So we go back to security, network firewall, and then of course along the top here you get your rule lists, your address lists, your port lists, any scheduling that is involved, and even IP intelligence. If you're not sure about IP intelligence, check out in 5 minutes or less F5 IP intelligence service. It's pretty cool. Any of the context, route domains, virtual servers, self IPs, management ports. So you can really get a good insight as to all the particular connections, all the way down to your resource as to what's going on. And then we go to denial of service protection. And so in here, denial of service is obviously a huge concern within within all industries today. And right here, it's not enabled. So if I just click enabled, now you get that protocol security for DNS. And we can, protocol errors attack detection enabled. And then underneath that, you can see the DNS query attack detection, A records, NS records, CNAME. And then if you, click enable, you're then able to adjust whether it be the threshold of packets per second or the percentage rate increase that occurs. Your thresholds might be different, so you can really tweak it to be unique to your exact environment, and then to determine what you want to do with that packet. Because a lot of this stuff, because it's already inherent in Big IP, might just be dropped right from the onset. It doesn't even need to go through a particular rule. And so all the different types of attacks. And then, what we've also done is greatly enhanced the reporting and logging of the Big IP AFM. So, it's great, to block all this stuff and make it easy to protect against these types of attacks. But unless you really understand what's going on, you really can't build an effective policy. And so here, within the statistics, you can select all violations. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, there's not much going through this box. And you can see the various occurrences that happen of all of these, particular violations, or you just select the specific violations that you might be interested in. Here are all your logging profiles that are set up. And then various types of reporting, as we mentioned earlier. There's no reports here, but I can show you these is what the application-orientated policies and reports will look like once you start, your Big IP and having the AFM module installed. You start blocking these types of malicious attacks. There are certainly occurrences where customers, start seeing all of these colored graphs and go, "Oh my God, I didn't even realize I was getting hit with those sorts of things." Actually, if you want to take a quick look at options, this is the antivirus protection, sending the traffic through an ICAP server before it hits the resources themselves. Any advanced configuration with system variables, being able to synchronize this protocol security, synchronize the policies with other Big IPs, so all of the Big IPs within your infrastructure have the same policies on them. So there you have it, the Big IP Advanced Firewall Manager, part of the Big IP version 11.3 release, available now. Hey, so thanks for watching and staying a little longer than 5 minutes for the Big IP Advanced Firewall Manager in 5 minutes or less or so or around. This is Peter Silva for F5 Networks. Visit us online at www.f5.com or follow us on Twitter at F5 Networks. Thanks for watching.